I'm Johnny Thojai from Poetry Corner and Elmwood Productions, and you're watching that maniac, Rich the Clawseer on the Claw's Corner. Check it out or be a loser. Loser?
Welcome to the latest episode of the Claw's Corner. Today's guest is the producer, actor, editor, writer, and puppeteer of Elmwood Productions. He is also known as the editor extraordinaire of this show and co-host of Real Talk. On Friday, October 13th, I had the distinct honor of hosting the final screening of his latest film, Bernice 2. As the screening was about to wrap, my guest told me to bring him on stage because he had a major announcement. Well, here to tell us all about what that major announcement was and much, much more is my guest, co-host, and most importantly, my friend, John Bristol. John, how the hell are you?
Good. How are you, my friend?
I am doing very well.
Good.
So let's go back. Let's go back to October 13th. First of all, I loved the movie, and then I had the honor of hosting the premiere, which was great at the Torrington Warner Theater. And then you had one final screening, which was in October. It was Robert Fulton had music. You always make it into an event. That's what I love about your premieres, your final screenings, whatever it is. It's not just showing the movie. All right, thanks for coming. You have goodie bags, you have music, you have comedy. It's a fun time.
We try to make it like a whole experience, not just coming to see a movie. You know, we want to make sure that people leave feeling like they were part of something, not just watching something. You know, So we had the final screening of Bernice 2. Yep. The now award-winning Bernice 2.
Oh yeah, well, I want to get to that. So one thing I did love is that in your bags you have so many different things. You had, like, for me, you have, well, maybe you personalize it a little bit for me because one of my favorite movies is Close Encounters. You had Close Encounters cards, but we also had one of my favorite parts of the evening, which I wish we had it for Patreon, but we talked about it in one of the other shows, is the camera wasn't centered, so you couldn't put it on Patreon. But
the camera was on a tripod to film everything, and one of the legs gave out, and it just went like that. And it was just filming the ceiling the whole time.
It's sort of like me when I'm talking to people. I just happen to, whoa, what's going on? But one of the most fun times is everybody was doing it for the most part. Everybody had their kazoos, and we did the Muppet song. Dun, 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 dun.
Wait.
All right.
Do I have one?
This is well worth the wait. Yes. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes. We still have kazoos. Yeah, I still have a bunch of them. But yeah, we had the goodie bags at the premiere. Yeah. Which was cool, and the ones we had for the final screening were just like leftover ones, which was fun. So we had enough to give to everybody, which was cool. So
yeah,
but kazoos.
Yep.
Through all the promotion of the screenings, I always said, mass optional kazoos encouraged or something like that. So some people showed up with their own, which is really funny. You brought these. This is one that you brought.
I went to the party. So I saw a lot of the messages on Facebook because you promoted the hell out of it, which I love.
Thank you.
And I said, kazoos, what the hell? And I said, you know what? There's got to be a party store. So I went to a party store, and they're like, well, how many do you want? I said, 50. What? So I bought.
And you brought kazoos. A bunch of kazoos. Yeah.
Just I want everybody to have one. Yeah. But in the middle of that, we had a great time. Robert Fulton played his music. We even started a new religion, Scientology. It was so much fun.
Scientology, we're starting a new religion in 2024. Yeah.
Rich Mislovitz is the Aqua Jesus.
The Aqua Jesus. Aqua Jesus.
But you said, Rich, the movie was almost over. You said, oh my God, Rich, we have a major announcement. Please, when you get up on stage, introduce me. I want to talk about it. So I said, all right, ladies and gentlemen, have a major announcement. Please welcome John Bristol. What was that major announcement?
While the movie was happening, I was just checking my emails and all that and checking messages. And I got the update from there's a magazine called Film Threat. They've been around since the 90s. It's all online now. Yeah. The great big website, one of the most important indie film people out there for news and reviews and all that. And we got they do an award show almost every year called Award This. And we got the announcement that we were nominated for 3 awards.
All right.
But what's funny is that night I only saw one of them. We got all 3, but I only saw that we were nominated for Best Comedy. Mm-hmm. So that was really cool, and we got up there and told everybody, and it was bittersweet in a way because we submitted this film to tons of film festivals and we got ignored.
Wow.
You know, like because we understand it's a weird movie, but like, and we some of it was political. We know that, like that's just how the film world is.
Yeah.
But to be nominated for 3 awards, though, so it was best comedy, the What the Fuck Is This Even award, the WTF award, and then the best movie made for less than an Oscar gift bag, so under $100,000 or less. And the one I really wanted to win was comedy because the movie is a comedy. You
Yeah.
know, the other two would have been cool, and the WTF was definitely something we could have won. Um, you know, but like the movies that did win those other two were awesome. I'm glad they won. You know, but comedy I wanted, and we got it, so that was cool. But we went, so we got the nomination. The show was December 10th in Santa Ana, California, at the Frida Theater, and a bunch of us went. Yeah, myself, Rick Passmore, who co-produced and co-directed with me, and he was one of the writers on it, puppeteers. Like everybody wrote this movie that was in Elmwood, and we all puppeteered. But and then John Fulcher, who was a writer and puppeteer on it, the three of us flew down and went to the award show and won an award.
All
And
right.
it was I'm sure we're gonna talk more about that. I mean, I have it right here.
All
This is
right.
it.
Very nice. Well, I was going to ask you what you won. So what is that?
It's a glass. It's actually glass, which I mean I assumed it would be, but like when I handed it to me, I'm like, wow, it's really glass. And they have like this announcer, like the epic movie guy, the guy who does the movie trailer voice. Like he
Yeah.
actually is the announcer for the show. And he was like, no expense spared. You know, like when I made a joke about it being actual glass, and it does say Indie Comedy 2023. It's hard to tell, but yeah.
Is that the guy that does no texting, no talking, no
Yes.
ruining the movie?
Yes.
So he
And
was
he's their
actually there?
announcer. Yeah, he's the announcer for the award show. So he's actually there sitting in the back doing all the announcements. And he would chime in, which was great, like making jokes and stuff when people were like hosting, the hosts were up there, or like the presenters or winners. He'd like tease us. So it was great.
Well,
We
how
had a
did you?
blast. Yeah.
No, well, we're going to get into that because if you're not part of Patreon with Elmwood Productions, you have to be. I just
Thank you.
did the VIP, whatever it's called, the $10 a month. That's all it costs. You get the coolest videos. You get things before anybody else does. It's well worth it. There's a lot of content on there, but you do have a whole video. So if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to and watch the Patreon video because
Yeah.
he
Thank
documents,
you.
for the most part, all of it. You know, I'm sure you're there for a couple days, so you left some out, but you get the gist of like how much fun you had and how excited everybody was. But how originally did you nominate or not nominate? Did you submit the film to Film Fair? Or how did that get to
No,
Film Fair's attention?
at the premiere back in 2022 that we did at the Warner that you hosted, one of their critics was actually at the premiere. And he wrote a review.
Mhm.
And because it got this is how I understand it. I could be have some of the details wrong, but if you get a 10-star review from one of their critics, you're put in the running to be nominated.
Wow.
And out of 2,000 films that they review, over 2,000 films they review a year, we got 10 stars and we got nominated and we won one of the awards. So like that's really cool. So we didn't submit it.
Wow.
The same guy, his name's Bobby, Bobby Lapierre. He also did some great reviews. He did a great review of Head, and he loved Jungle Man. He did a review of that too, and he interviewed us for our 20th anniversary. I don't remember how we got on his radar. He's a puppet guy though. He likes all this kind of stuff, and he's a huge supporter of us now, which is great. And it was just so cool to meet him a couple times and have him be at screenings, and you know, and he's just a really nice guy. And him and I have very similar taste in film, which is nice too. We don't always agree, but
Oh yeah.
we'll get him on the
Which I
show
like.
eventually.
Well, I was gonna say because he and I are
Yeah,
going to
you've met
do
him
a real
now.
talk
Yeah,
together.
yeah, we got to do one at some
Yeah, we
point.
got it. And what I like about him is that you can actually disagree with him, and he doesn't get angry about it. 'Cause
No,
even I went to your Christmas party, and he and I disagreed on
yeah,
that movie, the Flower Moon, whatever it's called, the latest Martin Scorsese. I love the
yeah.
movie. He thought it was boring, so he and I were going back and forth, and it
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh my
You can have
god.
an actual conversation with him about films.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And he's very knowledgeable. He knows what he's talking about. So that you know what I love the fact that you didn't. I think that makes the award even more meaningful because you didn't even submit it there. Somebody who's a fan of it put it in a 2000
You wrote a
movie.
review of it.
Yeah, really impressive.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, it was you, Ricky Passmore, John Fulcher, and you mentioned this on your victory speech at the end. You're like, no writers are credited because
Yeah.
everybody does their part, and I like that because. So this movie, you mentioned it's a comedy, but I think it's so much more because it has a lot of heart. I love the
It's
movie.
a
Yeah,
I always well, the short version, it's a comedy. I always
yeah,
say it's a musically infused sketch comedy film.
yes,
You know, it is a sketch comedy. This is the first time we're talking about like Bernice on one of your shows, and I'm doing it. You know,
yeah.
like which is cool. So I'm kind of excited. But like it's yeah, it's got tons of heart, tons of charm. It was you know, it came out of 20 years of doing Elmwood Productions. We had all these little skit ideas we never did anything with, and it was time to do something. We just didn't want to do skits. We wanted to do something bigger. And Mike and I had an idea for a whole different thing about these two guys with this wheelchair thing. It was actually a cart, like those grocery store carts that people ride in. And then it just totally developed into the wheelchair thing. And it wasn't even gonna be puppets originally. And it all came together in one big soup, which was great. And yeah, not crediting a writer, which is rare for us because everybody writes something, but everyone was so involved, right down to like on the day of shooting, we'd be throwing out new things and all that for almost every bit. So it was hard to like say like three people wrote the film because almost all of us had some say in the dialogue and in the scenes and everything. So we just had no credit. Elmwood Productions wrote the movie.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
people who haven't seen it, it's one guy in a wheelchair, the other one's pushing him around, and they go from it's almost like Kane in Kung Fu going from adventure to adventure. So they're going
Right.
so throughout the whole movie, they're just meeting all these different characters, all these different things happen. How many takes did you do on each one? So if you said a lot of people wrote, were you writing on the spot? Or do you have something in mind? You're like, let's just try it out and maybe improv a little bit here and there.
There we go. With a handful of exceptions, we had scripts. Like
Yeah.
some of the music video stuff, so we just had outlines for how the video, the order things were going to go in. But we'd add things. Oh, shoot in this corner and come up with have the puppet do this, but most of the scenes were scripted, and then we'd improv on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a beginning, middle, end written for each scene, but then we just flow. And I like to use the opening. The first scene with dialogue is the one about the guy whose grandmother stole his moped.
Oh yeah.
And that all came from Mike, who puppeteered. Broly is the name of the character. Mike, who was the puppeteer for Broly, just saying funny stuff one day, and I was just like, dude, we got to put that in a movie someday. And that was in like 2013, so it like took 9 years before it showed up in a movie.
Wow.
It was just so funny. We wrote down the idea of Broly, his grandmother stole his moped. It was just like, and it just sat there, and that was one of those things that we got to use this someday. But then the day of shooting, it was just like, dude, just riff, have some fun with it too. And he just did. And that was a great way of an example of, yeah, we had it written out, but also just say the craziest stuff that comes to mind that fits the character. And most of that is what made it in the film. It still told the same 2-minute story. Well, in the very beginning was the setup, and then he just went with it. And yeah, it was, and then the reactions were me and another puppeteer. And we riffed the reactions too. Like we just made stuff up. Like when I said, I heard she's a good kisser, and Broly doesn't even react to it. He's like, yeah, like he just, just like we said crazy stuff just to see what would work. And Ricky with the editing was just like, it took the best parts.
Well, the best part about that is that everybody from Elmwood Productions has been there for years. You're the best of friends, and you know each other's personality, so it's easy to riff with each other instead of having maybe like somebody you're working with you don't really know, and you don't know their sense of humor, and they come up with something crazy. You're like, what the hell is he talking about? Yeah. So the fact that it just seems so natural and flowed so well.
Yeah, most everyone who worked in the film had been with us for at least like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
we had a couple new people come in just when we were doing it. And they're still with us now, though. We shot it in 2021 during COVID, but they're still puppeteering with us, which is great. So
is Rick Allen one of the?
He was brand new for the movie.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He was like, is he the last puppeteer for Elmwood?
Him and Jess Rawling.
Okay.
Are the newest that are like with us the most. And she came in, she was only on the set for maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
And I don't think she got a single line. She dubbed some stuff afterwards, but like she didn't even get like a line when we were filming because we were just getting things done. But then when we did Jungle Man, the sequel to Jungle Man, Jungle Woman, she played the lead character. So so did Rick Allen, actually. Rick took over the role of Carrie. So the two newest people were the leads of the next bigger project we did, which was fun.
Yeah.
Just still a short film, but we were just, still coming off of Bernice. So it was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So how long were you? I know there's no credited writers, but who, for the most part, did you write down sort of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm, write down a synopsis and then go from there? So was that mostly you, or was it you?
Great question, man. Like when we decided we were going to do the sketch comedy thing, everyone had ideas for skits for years, and we did a night or 2 or 3 nights probably where we all got in a room in the studio together and had like a big piece of paper up, and everybody threw out ideas. We were writing them down, trying to figure out what to do. And I can remember it was before COVID even hit. So it was like 2019. We announced the movie that we're going to make this movie next. It's going to be a sketch comedy film. We're going to shoot it in 2020. We did the Kickstarter in 2019. I don't know if you remember that. We did that and then in 2020, right a month before we started shooting, just going away for a minute from your question, COVID hit. and we can't shoot now, obviously, because we can't even be together.
And that's
So
when I met you.
that's when we met, right,
Yeah.
right then. But so leading up to that, though, we had all the skits pretty much written, but those first few nights of getting together and sitting in the room, the one thing we knew we wanted this movie to be, and I say we, I mean myself, Pete, everyone knows him as Tricky,
Yeah.
myself, Tricky, Ricky, and Mike, we wanted this movie to be positive. We wanted to have like a good vibe. We still do some scary horror stuff if we wanted to, and if we didn't really want to go that way, we just did Head a few years earlier, which was a horror movie. We wanted to do something that wasn't R-rated. We wanted to do something that was like, PG-13. We wanted, just have it be more light, more fun, and not have like tons of F-bombs and stuff.
Yeah.
And just go a little lighter, but still be Elmwood. And all the stuff that was coming out of everybody was just so dark. And I think it was just because they were just so used to doing like Jungle Man stuff where it is full of F-bombs, or Head where it was gory, or and it was just like, oh my God. I remember like we were sitting there going over everything. I'm like, guys, this I love these skits for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I remember I pulled back and then, all right, let's do this. So I started like I myself started setting up what I thought we should be doing, and then everybody kind of was like, oh, okay, and because I just wanted to hear everybody's ideas, and that's why there was like no credited writer. And then when it came down to it, I sat down and typed out everything. I had everybody's bits and pieces. Ricky wrote, for example, he wrote the scene of the two hobos.
Yeah.
And forever I thought John wrote that because John was so involved in the idea of it. So when I got it to go retype it to make it part of the script, I thought I was retyping something John wrote. That just shows you how like everything was just flowing. Like I didn't even know who gave this to me. I didn't even know who submitted it. I'm like, but we're using that in the film. And apparently it was Ricky, not John. But like
Well, I love that there's
so
no egos involved too.
no, there,
Everybody's like, I wrote that. That's
yeah,
why is
I
Ricky
mean,
getting credit for that?
we can all like look at it and go, I wrote that scene, I wrote that scene. Now
Yeah.
like we can figure it out. But even me, I'm like the Holy Toledo scene I wrote, and for months I thought Rich wrote it, and I wrote it. But like in my head, Rich wrote it because Rich was playing Holy Toledo. And then one day I'm like, wait, no, that's all me. I wrote that. Like, but to me it was Rich. I don't know. It's just how my brain works. Plus, by the time we started shooting it in 2021, because we shot a little in 2020, and then we didn't over the winter, and we refined a bunch of it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we started shooting in summer 2021, my brain was fried.
Yeah.
Between COVID, my day job was dog shit. Like, it was just, and my life was a total turmoil personally. Like, but I was having fun with everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was having fun at the day job, having fun with my life being totally up in the air, not knowing what I was going to be doing in 6 months. Like besides Elmwood Productions and Claw's Corner stuff.
Yeah.
But like, so like my brain was just mush. I remember when we finished the film, there's actually like we were doing making of videos throughout it, and there's a video of that we put up like the day after we finished filming, and it's just called That's a Wrap, and it's on YouTube. And you can just see me. I just look like, and I'm being like, but because I'm fried. I'm so excited that we're done, but at the same time, I was playing it up a little bit too, like,
Yeah.
finally it's over, because we thought it was over 3 times before it was over too. Like, we should do this. So we got this idea. We forgot to shoot that. So.
So I know it was interrupted, but how long approximately did you film?
We probably shot 21, 22 days.
Okay.
We shot for a month, but it was mostly over the course of the summer of 2021. There was a good solid week that we shot 4 days in a row, and it was I think it was in August.
Yeah.
And it was that week there's always that one week every summer in Connecticut that's 140 degrees
I love it.
and humid and disgusting.
Yep.
And that was the week that we all took like time off of our day jobs to shoot, and the wheelchair melted down, and like,
Oh my God.
like it just stopped working. Like,
That's
boom.
funny.
It was too hot. We burned it out. A Time Machine. Shout out to them in Manchester. That's their address and their website.
All right.
They're the ones who made the wheelchair actually roll. They put all the remote control. Steve and Siobhan there made it a remote control. And when they found out that it wasn't working, they just came to the studio and fixed it. Like, they brought the parts and did it. I'm like, I'll bring it to you. They're like, no, we want to come. We got this. Like, amazing people. Everyone was so positive for this film.
Did you reach out to them or did they find you?
I went there in 2019 with the wheelchair, because that was what we did. We didn't do the Kickstarter to make the movie. We did the Kickstarter to make the wheelchair remote control. Like, we knew none of us really know how to do that. We didn't know how much money. We didn't even know how much it was going to cost. So we did a Kickstarter. We're like, give us some money to make these props, and we got them. And then we went to Time Machine, and I went in. This is one of my favorite stories about behind the scenes. I walk in, and I'm looking around all the remote control car stuff. My dad and my brother used to make this stuff. So I'm like, I know I can do this. I used to help them. I walk in, it's just, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Like just boom, no memory. I don't know. I don't remember how to do any of this. I know what this is, I know what that piece is, but I don't know how I'm gonna make this wheelchair work. And there's this woman at the counter for the remote control stuff. And I just look over, I'm like, excuse me, do you know anything about this stuff? And in these more sensitive times, it hit me that that could have come off as sexist, but it
Yeah.
wasn't meant to be. And I went, I'm not saying that because you're a woman. I'm saying that because I have no idea what I'm talking about. And she just started cracking up. And she's like, yeah, this is kind of my department. I'm like, okay, good. She thought it was funny, thank God. And I don't think she was even thinking I was trying to be sexist. It was just, you work here. Do you know anything about this stuff, though? You know, like, but she thought that was really funny that I'm like, correct, like backpedaling a little bit.
That's funny.
I'm like, all right, so I have this wheelchair that's designed for puppets. It's made for puppets. And I want to make it into a remote control car. And she's like, what? Like, it's in my car. She's like, go get it. I'm like, sorry, run out and get it. Rich was with me. Rich is walking around buying Smurfs and stuff because it's a hobby shop with toys. And like, so Rich is doing, and Rich, those of you who know Rich, and you know Rich, he's a total like Uber nerd and like for geeky stuff. And
Oh yeah.
they have a lot of old 80s stuff there and things like that. So he was just in heaven. Um, but I bring it in, she looks at it, she's like, we can make this happen. And she's like, what's your budget? I'm like, honestly, just figure it out and let me know, and we'll figure it out from there. I didn't tell her how much money we had. I was like,
Mhm.
just figure it out, let me know. And she's like, oh, it's funny because one of my friends made a puppet movie once. You know, my brother used to work with him at Hot Topic, and I started laughing. And I'm like, what's his name? And she's like, oh, his name's Russ. He made a horror movie called Head. And I'm like, yeah, I've heard of that movie. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I directed it. And she was like, but she used to shop at Russ used to be a manager of a Hot Topic, and she used to shop there, or an assistant manager, and she used to shop there, and her brother worked there. So like just small world, like they knew each other, which was hilarious. So that
Now,
was just cool. That like she knew Head, she had seen the movie, you know, so
that is funny.
cool connection, yeah.
It's
Very cool connection.
the
So I
puppet
left the
world's
wheelchair
very
there.
small.
Yeah, right. In Connecticut it is for sure. Yeah. So like that was great though. Like she was already aware of Elmwood Productions, which was really cool. And then I remember she called me and she's like, yeah, it's gonna be this much. I'm like, great, make it like a week later. And then like a week after that, she called me. She's like, it's actually gonna be more. I'm like, I don't care. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm like, just make it happen. So they were just wicked cool. That you know, like, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think I
love
have
it.
that. I want to get the wheelchair doesn't work again. We burned it out somehow at the very last couple of days of shooting.
Ah,
So at some point, I'm gonna bring it there and be like, can we make this work and can we make it go faster?
so is there ever going to be a sequel to Bernice 2?
No, I don't, it doesn't need one. Like,
Yeah.
but since we're talking about like the characters and stuff, Elmwood, we're putting all new stuff next year. You know, like so Bro Lee is gonna have his own series. The
I
guy
love
who's
it.
yeah, Holy Toledo, that starts in April or May. We've already filmed most of the episodes. So we're doing a whole series about him and his stunts and you know, with the Rocket Brothers yelling about everything. And so we're doing spin-offs of the movie into shows. Johnny Sojive, who's in the movie, does his poetry corner. We're bringing him back next year for new poetry corners. So like we got all this new stuff coming out next year, which is or 2024. This will be out before, but yeah, this will be out on New Year's Eve.
Yep.
This episode will be out on Sunday, so this will be out on New Year's Eve. Yeah, so you're getting the announcement before we announce it tomorrow, technically on Elmwood's page, because around New Year's Day we're gonna announce everything, but I'll give it to the Claus Corner first.
All right.
Yeah, so and new Animal Behavior, a whole new season of Animal Behavior is shot and ready to go. We just have to start releasing it.
These are all going to be found on your YouTube channel.
On the YouTube channel, yep. But if you're a Patreon supporter, we'll go back to that because you mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
If you are a Patreon supporter at the $10 level, you will get all the episodes the day the first one hits YouTube,
All right.
but only on Patreon. You know, so if you're a Patreon person at the $5 level, you get the episode, the first episode, each episode as they come up, you'll get them the day before or the week before. We haven't decided yet, but you'll get them before. But if you're at the $10 level, you get every episode of whatever series it is the day the first one goes up.
I already
So
know
like,
what I'm
for example,
doing New Year's Eve.
yeah, Animal Behavior has 12 episodes. I think we're gonna start putting those out in March or April. So that first one, you'll have them all the day it comes out if you're at the $10 level. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to say it
No
again.
waiting. Yeah,
Yeah,
no
no,
waiting.
it's definitely worth it. $10 a month is you spend like $8 on a day on coffee or whatever you want to go over
Right?
at Starbucks. So $10 a month is well worth, and you get a lot of content.
One of my other friends is doing it, and she was saying how like the stuff we're putting out that we've been putting out, they're not like 3-minute videos. We're just putting, you know, our exclusives that are there for our premieres and exclusives are like 15, 20, 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
You know, we did the Johnny Sojive thing about him and his history, and that was like 15 minutes. We did the Bernice 2 in California. I was going to the award show. That was almost a half hour.
Yeah.
So we're not skimping out on people, like we're giving them their $10 worth, if not more.
Yeah, no, I love the Johnny Sojav character, and we mentioned off there. I want to do a Claus corner versus the poetry corner. We got to do something with
Oh
that.
my gosh, just have Johnny here harassing you. Yes, I can do that.
Well, I got to say that we mentioned one of the musicians that was in your movie, Robert C. Fullerton.
Yeah,
Who else? The music was great in the movie. It went
thank you.
so well. Who was the other band that played in that movie?
That's great. Um, okay, so there was trying to think in order.
Okay.
There was a band called a Strawberry Machine.
Mm-hmm.
That was that opening song that you hear the record spinning, and then it comes back later in the film when you see the Animal Behavior and Rizzo Brothers characters at the funeral. It's the same song. So they're an amazing band based mostly like partially in Connecticut, but their members are all over. So they get together every once in a while and do a random show and then record a bunch of music. And they're one of my favorite bands, period.
Yeah.
Their singer songwriter Clay is a good friend. He's a great guy, and it was great that they wanted to be part of the film. And they played a version of the band played the premiere.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of members couldn't make it because they're out of state, so they had two other fill-in members, so they kind of gave themselves a different name for the night as a joke. But they played the Strawberry Machine music that night at the premiere that you hosted. Then there's Robert Fullerton, which you talked about, who's been doing stuff with Elmwood off and on for a while. He did songs for the Risley Brothers as well. Who else? Josh Asieres. He's been we've worked with him a few times in the past, and he did the song The Painter scene, and he did music for Josh and Todd. And we hang out with him. He's doing a lot of music for us. He's a good friend. We're working on a show with him as well, a couple shows, so that'll be fun. Who else was on the soundtrack? Kermit the Band. They did a song for Josh and Todd. They came back for this, and they did a song called Plep, which is that scene at the beach with the birds flying and all that. For those of you who've seen the movie.
Yeah.
Who else was there?
Sergeant Scagnetti was one of my
Sergeant
favorites.
Scagnetti,
Yes.
yeah.
That is
Oh
definitely.
man, Sergeant Skag, my favorite ska band ever, and they
Yes.
reunited just in time to ask us to make a video for them. And I was like, we make a video, can we use the song in the movie? And then we used some of the footage from the video as part of the movie, which was great. So what's cool is if you watch the video on their YouTube channel, it's different than the one on our YouTube channel because we made it more movie centric, and theirs is just has the band members actually in it and stuff. So it's cool. Love that song, Cult of Nation. Let's start a cult. Let's start it now.
And they recently played in Hamden at the Space,
Yeah.
which I was so angry because I was busy.
I bought 2 tickets and I felt like garbage that night and didn't go because I was like I'm really sick. And then I woke up the next day and I felt fine. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So next time they play CT, I'm definitely going. I know they have dates coming up. So, and then we had Arthur Lewis Benson, who's a fantastic musician from Pennsylvania. We did our second screening of the film there in January of this year, and he played at it because you could walk there pretty much from his house, and he helped make it happen there at a theater there, which was an amazing night. And he did most of the score of the film. The instrumental music throughout the film is him as well. And we used 2 of his full songs in the film. We did a video for his song Missing Alice at Advent, which came out to help promote the film a year ago about now. And then Snap Famous was the closing credit song, Already in the Future. Some of their members had worked with us and stuff in the past. They helped make the music for Jungle Man, one of the members, and then he was something of theirs and something else. One of their members. I'm drawing a blank now. And Head, one of the guys played on the Head. No, that was a different guitarist. But the musician, Jason Finberg, is one of the musicians in that band, and he does all of our audio mixing. So he mixed Head, actually, not Head. He mixed Bernice too. Did all the audio mix for Bernice too. So
did you meet a lot of these musicians not through this movie, but just Elmwood Productions in general, or were you friends with them from other areas of your life?
Some are just people I've known through the years, been friends with because of jobs. I worked in music stores. I played in bands badly, things like that. And so like you'd get to know people and you stay friendly with them. Or you have a friend who's in another band who knows this band, and then it just kind of builds up. Or like Kermit the Band, their bassist, I worked with him at Borders 20 something years ago. So you stay in touch with people that you like. So that's how we built the bands up around us. Is either I knew them or one of the other guys in Elmwood knew them. Like the Snap Famous guys, like Ricky. Jason's one of his closest friends, the bassist, who does all of our audio mixing now. But they're just such nice guys too. And we just know.
What I like in the movie too is that you you got things in the movie that don't exist anymore. One of them was the Gold Rock Diner.
Oh
Uh,
man, like a month or two before we were gonna shoot that scene, we were trying to figure out where we're gonna shoot, like where are they gonna roll up to? It has to be a building. We weren't sure what, and then Gold Rock closed. And I mean, Gold Rock, they became the Gold Rock the year I graduated high school. Like, and that was like a rite of passage for like Elmwood kids,
Yeah.
especially us scrubs, like us dirtbags, like us metalheads and us weirdos, the grunge kids and the alternative kids. Like that was a place, and we were there at 3 in the morning. We were there sometimes 4 or 5 times in a day, just meeting up with people and grabbing a coffee and like that was like home base. I mean, as we got older, we weren't there like that, but like
Yeah.
I remember driving up one night late at night to go there with Mike, and they were closed, and we're like, oh well, and like they were like remodeling or something. Oh, they're doing something in there, but there are no signs. And then like a week later, somebody's like, I heard their closed.
No.
And then we pulled in the parking lot and they were closed. It's like, oh my God. And then we were like, well, maybe we'll we could shoot the scene there. Like it's an empty parking lot now. We can. And then we went there and we saw the soon to be an IHOP sign. And I was like, and I know I'm not anti IHOP. I don't
Yeah.
hate IHOP. I mean, in the video we made maybe like a funny little parody video of me like screaming because Gold Rock was closed and gonna be an IHOP.
Yeah.
But like, I just wish it was gonna be like another random diner, not a corporate thing. Like that punk rock in me. But yeah, Gold
Yeah.
Rock's gone. Like things are gone now. Like Josh and Todd, we shot up Books and Music, and that place was gone when the movie came out. Like
I love it. You have everything on film that's never going to disappear. So things that no longer exist, just you can go back and watch these older Elmwood production movies and see it.
and
I,
and making this movie as like a tribute to our 20 years as Elmwood Productions. That's part
yeah.
of what it was. That's why we brought back all the old characters. Like if you watch it closely, if you've watched all our work, you're gonna recognize most of those puppets because they've been in other things. Like and
Oh
they're
yeah.
playing the same characters, and the new characters in it were new on purpose. But like Tricky's in it, and Tricky's a character from Risley Brothers, and Richie's in it, and it's the Richie that's in the movie isn't the Richie from the Jungle Man movies, but it's the same puppeteer, same puppet. And our joke is that the actor who plays Richie in the Jungle Man movies, like so it's just like we're having fun with just mixing the characters
Yeah.
up and shooting some of it in Elmwood was great, and shooting like Gold Rock is in the Hartford Elmwood line, like cool. And then we shot in downtown Elmwood. We like a lot of those and Beachland Park, like places we grew up playing and hanging out in. So.
But what I love is when Gold Rock came out in the final screening of it, people just went, "Oh!" and started
Oh yeah,
clapping. Yeah, I love that.
because it was in West Side. The final screening was in Elmwood at the
Yeah.
community center. Yeah, and everyone remembers there. It's funny. My friend Sarah, who I've known her since like seventh grade, she was a waitress there in the mid
Wow.
'90s. And she was there at the screening. I mean, she was at the premiere as well. She never said anything to me about it after the premiere, but the night of the screening, she was one of the people who was like, "Oh," like, so that was cool. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, there was a girl that I didn't realize she was at the premiere. I don't even know how she found out about you, but it was a girl I went to high school with. Haven't seen her since 1987. She was, "Oh, Rich, I saw you." I said, "Well, you know what? You should see me next time you're there. Let me know." So she was at the final screening.
Oh,
She
cool.
said, she said that she brought her son, and they were so touched by it, she actually started crying.
Oh,
Not because of Gold Rock, but just the movie in general, because it
the
was so
movie. Yeah.
touching. And she goes, and that's why I said I love that about not just that movie, but your other movies. That sometimes you're watching and you forget that it's puppets. You just get it so deep into the characters and what they're saying, what they're doing, and you just like immerse yourself in it. And so she said that movie actually brought tears to her in a good way.
Yeah, that's a huge compliment, and she's not the only person who's said that or
Yeah,
person that's reacted like that. I reacted like that the first time I saw it.
yeah,
Like I choked up, and it's because it is a comedy for sure, but it's got tons of heart, and it comes from a good place. Like everything, even the crazier, more wacky moments, it all comes from a place of like love, you know. Not to sound like a Red Hot Chili Peppers member, just talking about love and like weirdness and all that. But this is the Red Hot Chili Peppers of the Elmwood films. It's like this weird, funky thing where it's just love and understanding and hugs and jumping or get up and jump around, which we were doing through the whole thing. Like,
Elmwood puppets with socks.
yeah, yeah. But like that, but their whole like whenever you see them in interviews and everything, they're always talking about, oh, it's all about cosmic and love. Like,
Yeah.
and this movie really was that though, like. So it's cool. It's cool when people react like that because it's humbling in a way because our goal is to make movies that entertain and our goal is to entertain ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, so when other people are touched by it, by things that we're touching us, it's like, wow, we're human. And we want to do like on the technical end, puppetry isn't a genre; it's a medium for telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we can do a horror movie, we can do a comedy, we can do this sketch comedy thing, we can do a drama if we wanted. And people forget that because they're just so used to it being comedies for families. And this was definitely a more family friendly film for us. Still had some colorful language and like some sexual innuendo, but it was more PG-13. Like
No, exactly.
if we drop the swears, there's a couple shits and dams and hells. There's no F bombs.
No.
But if we dropped all that out, it would have been a PG movie easily. But
And the good, I mean, and you didn't do it for shock value. It was just
yeah,
the characters talking. It was
yeah,
natural. Because I hate when movies try to be shocking. It's like just make it how you want. Don't do it just to get a reaction. Get the
right.
reaction from just being in the movie
And
and getting the characters.
and a lot of puppeteers that are trying to like get their films out there aiming more at adults, they purposely will
Yeah.
drop the F bomb constantly. I look back at Josh and Todd, and the word "fuck" is a comma in
Yeah.
that movie. Like, but also it was just how we were talking to each other too. Like in between takes, it was this fucking thing and that. So it just came through in the film. But when you see it being forced,
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of people like that are making puppet films that aren't mainstream, they purposely are putting the nudity in the four-letter words to be extreme. And yeah, we had that in head, but we were also paying tribute to 80s horror movies. So if we didn't have nudity in four-letter words and kids drinking, it wouldn't have been an 80s horror movie, you
Oh,
know?
exactly. Yeah.
And it wasn't written as a puppet film. We just decided to make it with puppets. So, like we weren't purposely going for that whole like, let's be shocking. It just was shocking.
Yeah.
Or funny, depending how you look at it. And Bernice 2 is the same thing. We were just trying to make a good movie
Yeah.
and
Well,
use puppets. Yeah.
let's talk about bringing Bernice to Hollywood.
Yes. So we got that nomination and we decided we were going to go. And not everybody, I mean, it's a couple weeks before Christmas, so not everybody could go to the show, which was fine. But Ricky, John, and I decided we could make the trip, and we did. I will say the flights were we stopped in Detroit on there and on the way back.
Mhm.
Four easiest flights I've ever had in my life. Like no turbulence or anything. Just want to say that. I think it was Delta. Thank you.
Well, I want to
Well,
stop right there for a minute
yeah.
because in the Patreon video, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're waiting.
Yes.
You're waiting for John. I think it was. I think he was meeting you at the airport.
At the airport, yeah. So Ricky picked me up and we went to the airport. Because
Yeah.
Ricky and I live like 5 minutes from each other, so we
So,
just cooled.
were you just so wired you didn't even go to sleep at all? From what I remember you saying, you were up for 48 hours straight.
That's what it felt like, yeah.
Yeah.
I never got any sleep the night of the flight. Ricky, Jess, and I went to see a movie just to so we could just kind of get our energy going.
Yep.
And then Ricky was like, "I'm gonna go home and go to bed." I'm like, I'm gonna try, but I couldn't. So I got up at like 6 in the morning for work that day, and then the following day, the flight's taking off at 7 or 5:30. The flight was down at 5:30. So I'd been up for 24 hours and the flight took off. I
Wow.
slept on the first flight, I slept for maybe 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Like just exhaustion got me. And then
Yeah.
I didn't sleep again until we got to the hotel room Saturday night. So Connecticut time, it would have been like 10 o'clock when I finally went to bed. So I've been up from 6 a.m. Friday to 10 o'clock Saturday, and then woke up Sunday and didn't go to bed again until Monday night at 8 p.m. Connecticut time.
So you were just riding on adrenaline.
Oh yeah, by the time, yeah, I didn't even sleep. I slept. It's funny, on the flights back,
Huh.
first flight, I think it was the first flight, I fell asleep before the plane took off, but woke up as soon as we were in the air and couldn't fall back asleep.
Yeah.
So I got maybe 20 minutes of sleep there too. But yeah, because we went from we went to the show, and the show started at with the pre-show was like at 6 for like us to check in, do the red carpet thing, get interviewed, get our badges, get inside, have like the pre-show, the cocktail hour and all that. So the show ended at like 9:30 or 10, and then there was the after show there at the same theater. And then from there was an after party at a bar up the road. And we went from the bar up the road to the airport. So there was no like going back to the hotel. It was like the flight's in a couple hours. Let's just go to the airport. So it was nonstop go, go, go the whole time we were there. We saw some cool stuff though. We did like a tour of LA the first day. When we got the plane, we just drove. We went to the In-N-Out Burger
Oh yeah.
because Ricky wanted to try In-N-Out Burger. Just fast food. I'll give it a thumbs up. It was better than Five Guys. But
Well, I have a list of some of the places you hit because you
Yeah.
cover most of it. You had the Hustler store, which is
Yeah, we
good.
drove past. We just drove past everything.
Yeah,
We didn't have time
yeah,
to stop, which was a
yeah,
drag. We did stop and take pictures at a couple spots, but yeah,
yeah.
we drove by the Hustler store. We didn't meet. It was the Hustler Strip Club, I think.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
We were just cracking up when we saw it because we were in California. We're in Hollywood. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then you got the Grauman's Chinese Theater, of course.
Yep.
Yep. Last time I was there, I got to see was it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was there when that movie was playing. So I went to
Oh wow.
yeah, I went to Laurel Canyon, did a tour there. Then I went to the Grauman's Chinese Theater, and that movie was playing there. But that was I don't know what time of the day you were there, but when I was there at night driving with a rental, that was a crazy area. People were throwing bottles in the air. It was hitting other cars. It was just I don't think,
Wow.
it was just I said I don't remember because I was in LA. I want to say 93, 94, and I don't remember being that area being like that. Maybe it just came at a bad time, but there
Maybe
was
it was a bad day. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it
We
was
were we were driving around there. Their time, it would have been like 1, 2 in the
okay.
afternoon.
Yeah, mine was
It
like
was
around 7,
early.
8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it was early because we were meeting our buddy Chris, who was one of the executive producers on Head.
Yeah,
He lives in
Chris
Burbank.
Jarowski.
Yep. Yeah, we were gonna meet him in He lives in Burbank or right outside Burbank. So we're gonna meet him there for dinner and then go to the hotel. So we got off the plane, just hung around the area. Then we drove by Henson, which was cool. Hopped out, got pictures. We
I saw
hit
that.
the Hollywood sign because we were so close to it, and Ricky really wanted to see it. I'm like, and I was kind of like indifferent. Then once we started driving to it, I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. Hollywood sign. This will be cool. Like I've never seen it either in person. It was the first time I'd ever been out there. So so we got our pictures in front of the Hollywood sign and we hung out there for a little bit. It was kind of like cool. We're filmmakers and we're in Hollywood.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that because there is, I don't know if it's still available. There used to be a path where you can walk right up to it. Is that still?
Oh, I have no idea. We didn't do that though.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's still there, but we did it from like looking over at it because we wanted to see it. And it was fun seeing other people there checking it out too. It was just
Well,
cool to see the other
one
like
of the funniest
Hollywood
things
wanted.
I want your opinion on this because I was, or not opinion, I want your story on this. I was laughing so hard when you're at the Hollywood video, you're filming. It's like, oh my God, remember this? We've seen this in movies, and then all of a sudden you see this guy exercising with his girl. It's like, what
His
the?
girlfriend's filming it. He was doing his kung fu moves. He had no shirt on, I think, too.
Yeah.
I don't think he had his shirt on. He was fit. Like it wasn't like he was like embarrassing himself. But I feel like he was one of those guys who's like doing it for the Instagram, doing it for TikTok. Like, look at me, I'm in Hollywood and I'm gonna be an action star. And I made the joke like this fucking idiot. And then I'm like, but watch him be like super famous in 5 years, like so good for him. Like, like
I
it
was
was
laughing
fun.
so hard. Yeah.
We
Well,
had a good time.
I think the funniest line was, "Hey, is this Dolly World?" And I think it was Ricky Passmore. He goes, "No, the mountains aren't big enough."
Yeah. I think John said that, and Ricky,
John, yeah,
yeah, John said, we had Dollywood," and he's like, "No, the mountains aren't big enough." And I mean, I love filmmaking. I love the whole world of it. I'm not a big Hollywood guy.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not a big into the machine.
Hmm.
So I'm deep down I'm a punk rocker.
Oh yeah,
And so my favorite photo we even took on the whole trip is me facing my back, facing the Hollywood sign, facing the camera, and just flipping the bird.
yeah.
That was kind of me like saying, fuck you, Hollywood, like there's more to movies than just here, obviously, like and but it was still really cool to go and see, like all joking aside. And then we went from there into Burbank,
Yeah.
checked out a couple records or a record store. We found a real video store.
Yeah. Well, with the smoothing sound, the smooth sounds of Johnny Bristol.
Right. Yes, that was the second day, but we found this one video store and we dropped off a copy of Bernice for them to rent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the place is called Be Kind Rewind, I think.
Oh, I love it.
I'll share like a picture of the place when
Yeah.
a video of me, like you can see the picture of me holding it. So we dropped it off there. So if you're there, if you're watching this and you're ever there, just ask if they have Bernice to rent. Maybe the guy threw it away. I don't know. I
What
don't
I should do? I should call them up and say, "Do you have
Do you
Bernice?"
have-
I'll call up like 5 or 6 different times with different voices.
I saw
"Hey, do
that
you have
you
Bernice
had-
too?"
I saw a thing on YouTube about you having Bernice too.
Yes.
So-
they don't even know. They have no idea that I'm calling from Connecticut. They could think I'm just some random guy in California.
Right.
"Oh, I heard this movie's Bernice too. It won an award recently. I would love to see
And
that."
it was
You know?
because he knew we were going to the award show. We talked to him and all that,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, I would, I'd rent that if we could get a copy of it." And I had like a dozen of them in the car. I'm like, "Hold on!" I ran to the car, block away, came back. Here you go.
Well, one
Yeah.
thing I would love to have checked out, and I saw you drove by and have a chance to go, was the Beverly Cinema, which is owned by Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, he bought it now. Yeah, we drove by. That's one of the places we stopped to get a picture.
Yeah.
While we were driving, because Ricky really wanted a picture of that one. Well, I wish we had more time, but it was such a last minute thing because you don't find out about these award shows till like later and
Oh, yeah.
all that. So it was very. And it was also later in the year, so like if I had known a month or two earlier, I would have taken less vacation time earlier in the year type thing and just gone down for like a week and a half
Yeah.
and done the tourist thing. So I want to go back.
Oh yeah, no,
We went to the awards. Did did the award show. We stayed in Santa Ana, so we weren't far from the award show.
yeah.
We made our way to downtown by like 3 in the afternoon and wandered, found the best coffee shop I've ever been to, and I can't
Oh
remember
yeah,
the
it
name.
has well, it says skull on it. I said, this is
Yeah,
the best coffee.
yeah. And then we had a great burgers and food at a restaurant. Like just we splurged.
Yep.
It looked like we were drinking a lot, which is funny
Yeah.
because the first night we were there, we went to a bar with Chris. I think I had one drink because I was so tired, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, we'll get to the hotel, we'll check in, and then we'll go find a bar. Like that was my whole thing. It's like we'll check in, the Ricky, and John was in a separate room because we'd already booked our room when John decided to go. So he was right next to us though, and I'm like, yeah, like we'll just chill quick 20 minutes. I'll go knock on John's door. We'll go find a bar. I was asleep in a half hour.
No.
And so was John, and Ricky was out within an hour too. So I was like, no, we didn't go to a bar. And then the second day we had a couple beer, we had like a pitcher of beers at the dinner, and then there were drinks at the theater. And that's why there's a thing about John. I'm drinking more tonight than I have in years.
Oh
Because John
yeah.
drink. So he had 2 drinks and he was flying.
Man,
Because he
you
didn't
can
have like
tell.
beers. He had like vodka drinks. Like he had real drinks.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then we went to the after show and he had even more. And it's like, wow, John's drinking. Like,
well, it was funny when he kept on saying, "He goes, is this real? Am I please let me know that we won an award because I'm not going to remember this."
yeah.
He was so out of it.
Funny.
I don't know if he was playing it up for the camera, but
Oh yeah, he was just having a good time. But it was
okay.
just, yeah, but it was just like what a bizarre night, you
Oh, yeah.
know? And everyone was so nice and cool.
Yeah.
And then when I'm just glad like out of the 3 we were nominated for, we won the first one that came up.
Yeah.
Because it would have sucked to sit there all night and be like, oh. Like I don't really awards aren't necessarily my thing. I mean, it's cool to win, but like I don't do it for the awards. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's similar
it
to
would have been
when
embarrassing
Rush.
to go and not win one, or not really. Well, to fly that far and not win one, it would have been kind of embarrassing or annoying. But to be honest, but we didn't have that problem. So, but it was nice that we won one because then when the other 2 came up, I didn't even care.
Yep.
It was just like, I don't care if we win. We don't need to win. We already got one. Like let somebody else win. You know, it's like being like that. It's cool if somebody else wins this award. We already got one. Yeah.
But I love. I think it's similar to when Rush won the when they were Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they always said we don't care about awards, we don't care about awards, and finally Neil Peart said, you know what? I care a little bit more than I thought I did. It's like it's nice. He goes, it's not why I do music, but it's nice to be appreciated. And
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
So, yeah,
Yeah, you know, like other film festivals we've been, like this wasn't even a film festival. We've been in some film festivals, we didn't win anything, and other people within the group got mad about it. And I was just like, why upset? We made the
why?
movie.
Yeah.
And we made the movie. Who cares? How many people never made a movie? You know, like let alone went to a film festival with it. Like it's cool. Like
I know.
yeah, in the festival we have that clout if nothing else. We're not gonna win every time, you know.
Well, it seemed like from what I saw, and I only saw clips of it, there was everybody was very supportive of each other. One example
yeah.
would be when you were going up on stage, some guy stopped you and goes, "Hey man, this movie looks fucking amazing."
Yeah, yeah. Like everyone was so because also it's indie film and everyone's supportive of each other in indie film because we're all doing it because we love it.
Yeah.
You know, like I wish I thought of more eloquent things to say when I was on stage because I would have said like this is why we do it. We don't do this for the awards, but we do this to help each other.
Yeah.
That's why these award shows are here to support each other.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask you. Did you? I wasn't sure if you had a speech ready because it looks Ricky Passmore started speaking, then you were like, you took over. You're like, all right, because it wasn't like, did you really? Because you made a joke, and I know you're playing things up for the camera. You're like, we're not going to win anything. We are. Like you were just saying, you're like, I don't think.
Yeah, we all Ricky, John, and I all had really good feelings, like that we were gonna walk away with something. You just felt good, you know. John was literally sitting in his chair during the award show talking to himself. John doesn't realize he's talking to himself a lot because he's like me, where he like pretty much lives alone, does his own thing, and like
yeah.
you know. So, but he'll literally be like, oh no, oh no, 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 and Ricky like nudges me because he was in between us, and I look over, and John's literally watching the stage, but going, his mouth is fully moving, voices coming out loud. And Ricky's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, what? He's like, you're talking out loud. Like, not like you're like thinking. He's going, practicing a speech because we're going to win. And it's literally what he was doing. He was practicing what he was going to say. It's like, John, do it in your head. What? I was out loud? Like, he didn't even know he was. And then I remember on the flight back, just I'm what we I was sitting on an aisle seat and so was he, but he was across the aisle, one row up, and he's literally like leaning over and just talking to nobody. I thought he was talking to somebody in the next row over, like some woman, and I'm like looking like who's he talking to? Just literally talking out loud to himself. And I'm like, fucking John, I love this guy. He's so weird.
Well,
But
I thought was funny about that is the one thing he wanted to say and he didn't. He says, "Can you please tell my dad thank you for being my biggest supporter?" So the one thing that he didn't practice was what he really wanted to
oh,
be.
afterwards,
Yeah,
we're outside. He's like, thank my dad. He said his dad, yeah. You
yeah,
know, like I didn't, I mean, I knew when I got there if we won, I wanted to make sure I thanked the whole crew. I didn't want to that would be one of the first things I wanted to say was thanks to everybody who worked on the film. I didn't want to name everybody because that would have taken other people did that kind of thing, but I was just like, I don't want to do that. Um, but I watched Ricky get up there and start to flounder a little. So I just started talking over him because I knew he was so nervous he didn't know what to say, which was
yeah, yeah.
good. But yeah, yeah.
Well, I
But
love
I
your
didn't say
face.
anything other than I knew I wanted to thank my dad. That was it, and I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
while we
Well,
were on
you
stage.
got that in there. And who was filming it? Was it Fulcher? Was he filming you guys the reactions? Because it was great watching the trailers, and then you're like, oh wow, this looks funny. This looks funny,
Oh
and
no,
then
that
all of
was
a sudden,
Ricky holding the camera
oh
up.
Ricky. Okay,
Yeah, Ricky. Oh, sorry, I just hit a button. Oh no, we're good.
no, you're good.
I thought I hit something. Ricky had the camera. He was sitting between me and John, so he had a camera. And I was like, at one point, I'm like, stop. Like, I just didn't want him filming me like from that angle, like that,
Yeah,
you know, that too. But I was also like, dude, just put the camera away and be in the moment. But it was funny. I'm glad he filmed it. And I
yeah,
have the raw footage, so like when you see us win, we look at each other and go, holy shit. Then we get up and when you watch the Kickstarter video, it cuts to the actual film threat footage.
yeah,
We're filming it. It's on their YouTube. You can watch the whole thing, which is great. The whole award show. I cut to that footage so you can see us do the speech, and it cuts to us walking off the stage. It's in Ricky. Ricky pulls the camera out again. He never stopped filming when he put it in his pocket. He thought he did. So in the
yeah.
raw footage, you just hear like everything. You hear our point of view, but you don't see it, which was a drag. Like looking out the audience, we can hear us like up there, like holy shit, we did this, and yeah,
No, you know, what's funny. I actually enjoyed that because it was a real reaction, and you had no idea that you were being recorded. So it's not like you were filming it and then sort of acting for the camera.
no,
It's like
yeah,
that was a real reaction. So
yeah.
I actually glad that he didn't turn it off.
Did do that. Yeah. We had but like the whole show was great. Everyone was so nice. Alan and Chris, who run Film Thread, are such cool dudes. Like they care about film so much.
Yeah.
And that's why it's all independent. Like it's an independent film show. Like Disney can't distribute the film if it's going to be nominated. Like it's
I
yeah.
have
So
to
we
say, I've always been a fan of that magazine. I
yeah.
love Film Threat. When
I
I used
used
to
to
buy
buy it all
physical
the
copies.
time,
Yeah,
and like so,
yeah,
like when Bobby first reached out to do reviews and interviews with us, I was just blown away because I'm like, wow, Film Threat. I read Film Threat. I go to Film Threat's website every week, and I have since the '90s, since I got internet or 2000s when I got the internet for the first time, and then and I worked at Borders, would pick up the magazine and like read it and buy it, like so it was just this is big,
yeah.
this is big for indie film, like this was cool, like, wow, yeah.
Well, it looked like a pretty big place. So I know it's in Hollywood, but
Yeah,
where was it held?
well, it was in the Frida in Santa Ana.
Okay.
So it was like a 300 seat theater probably. I
Yeah.
don't know. You could look it up and find out, but like it was a big theater, and it was a two-screener theater. They have two screens. So one room was like where so the other room, they had the second room was like live streaming it. So
Hmm.
people could like buy tickets and sit in there and watch it as well.
Yeah.
How many people they had in there, but so it was cool. Like, and it was packed. Like the place was packed, and
Yeah. You can
it
tell.
was
And who was the host?
um Lila
I think I admit, yeah, Lila. I couldn't hear the last name. I was
Hart. I think it was Lila Hart.
okay. That's what. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who it
She's a
was.
stand-up comedian from Texas. She's really funny. I'm gonna look her up right now. I got my phone out. Super nice. At the after show we were chatting with her a bunch. Like she was just so cool. Very funny. So that's always a good thing. Yeah.
Yep. And then I couldn't get the last word. Your movie Bernice 2 actually tied with another one. It was Turbo something. What was the movie that you tied with?
Oh, Turbo Cola.
That's it. I could
That
not.
movie looks awesome. I haven't
Yeah.
watched it yet. When they were going through the nominations and showing the clips in the trailers, you see me go, I want to see that. Like
Yeah.
it's about these guys who work at a gas station and decide to rob it. And I guess it's like Clerks meets Reservoir Dogs, but funny as hell.
Oh, I love it.
And the guys who made it, like we got to chat with a lot of the other filmmakers before and after. They were so nice, like the director and the producer and everything. They were so cool. And then there was another one, Astronauts in Love. So, what the hell was the name of it? I'm gonna go to their website while we're talking.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead. Because
awful forgetting the name of the other movie. Let's go. Film thread.
so how many movies were up for best comedy?
5 or 6.
Wow.
I'm looking it up right now as we're talking to see. Let's see. Best comedy, indie comedy. There was Us and okay, it wasn't that one. What was the other one? Um, God damn it. It was the WT, no, the less than $100,000 movie called Planet of the Astronauts.
Okay.
We were up for that as well. And the kid who won for Planet of the Astronauts, such a cool dude. Like when we were in the line for the red carpet to get the
Mhm.
photos and the interviews, he was in front of us. And we just started chatting with him, and he was just like so full of energy and so excited and so happy. And he's young, maybe 21, 22. Like he'd be like, "Oh my God, we're all here. We made it. We got our movies are nominated. What are you up for? I'm up for this." I'm like, "We're up for that too." And he's like, "I want to say I hope you win, but I want to win." I'm like, "I hope we win, but I want you to win too." Like it was one of those
I
like
love it.
he was just so positive, so happy. So when that one came up, because we'd already won Best Comedy and he wasn't up for that one, I was like, and his trailer looked great. Like the movie looks great. I can't wait to watch it. And when that one came up, I was like, fingers crossed for him. I wanted him to win so bad. Like he was almost annoying. He was so happy, like through the whole day. But it was that whole like annoying because I'm not that. I have a great energy. I think I'm a positive guy. But he
Yeah.
was so happy, and it was just like, all right, calm down. Have a like not annoying but like, dude, have a drink, breathe, breathe. But he was so fucking cool. I like him a lot. He's
Yeah.
from New York, so when he found out we're from Connecticut, it was like, oh, we should hang out. Like, yeah. So I've stayed in touch with him. We're gonna get together hopefully in the spring and maybe even like do something. But like
I love it.
future guests for your show, even maybe get you
Yeah,
some.
please. I would love to talk to him.
Yeah,
I
and then
love people with that kind of energy.
and then there was another film that the director was amazing. I'm just drawing blanks on everybody's names right now.
Oh yeah,
Of
there's a
the
lot going
film.
on.
Yeah, and just also my brain is still fried from the holidays and everything. It's the day after Christmas, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Quantum Terror.
Okay.
It's a horror film, and the director of that was just fantastic. We traded DVDs before we left because he had DVDs, we had Bernice DVDs, and we were chatting with him at the after party for the most of the time, and he was fantastic too. So it was just like everyone was so friendly, everyone was so cool. There's a Guar documentary. I
Oh,
was
I love
chatting with the
Guar.
producer of that beforehand, and somehow I saw Guar like in '96. I haven't
Yeah.
seen him since, but I always loved Guar. And like everyone was just awesome. Like no one was jerks. There was just two other women who made the best directress because they have a best director and best directress award, which I think is really cool and really hip. Um, and the winner was her name was Stacy. Um, the movie was called, I'm looking it up. Triple Threat. I want to see it too. And her lead actress were there, and they were just like super cool. We were chatting with them a bunch too. Like everyone was just like so nice and so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, see, I love that when I mean, you're competitive to a certain point, but you're just
Right.
happy for the other person and you want to see them win. And I love the fact when people are, because we talked about this off the air, maybe even on other shows, all the different things that I've done and you've done, especially with comedy and bands, there's so much backstabbing. Like, why if
Yeah.
I didn't pick the last spot on stage? Why are you worried about me? Do work,
Right.
and I was always so supportive of other people, and I'm happy. And people are like, "Why are you so happy for other people's success? Why not?" It's like I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Why not? Also, like be positive about it because
Yeah,
their success will hopefully rub off on you.
yeah, exactly.
You show them support, then maybe they're gonna bring you along for something.
I know. Yep.
Like like with me, like I'm always like people are, oh man, I wish I could make a movie. I'm like, then make a movie. Well, I don't have anything. I'm like, well, I do. What do you want to borrow?
Hmm.
You got a story? Borrow a camera from me. Borrow a microphone. And if I'm free that day, I'll come help. I want other people to do things. I want to help people, because I want people to help me. So I'm
Yep.
the it with the and Connecticut doesn't have a big film community really, like of people
Yeah.
that are actually doing it on a regular basis. There's a lot of indie filmmakers up here, but there aren't people that are continually doing stuff. So like if people want to do something and need help, let me know. I'm there. Let's go.
Yeah. No.
Let's
I mean,
trade. I'll
perfect
come help
example
you.
is me and
You
you.
help me. Yeah.
We and I interviewed you. We became friends, and you've been helping me out with this Real Talk local artist show.
Local artist
So
show.
many
Yeah.
other things. Get me involved with Elmwood Productions for other things, and
Yeah.
I love it.
And it's just like I want more of
Yeah.
that type of community. Um, because it's great because we can only support each other. That's the best thing you can do, you know?
I know. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's I think the most important thing that you get. And just I could just tell from the video you made, and just even like the little comments, like, "Oh my God, it looks fucking amazing!" That and everybody when you got up on stage, people were clapping and cheering. It was like one big fan fest where everybody's just having a good time, enjoying everybody else's success. There was no,
Yeah.
yeah, that's I if you go to Hollywood next time, let me know. I'd love to hang out with you guys.
Oh man, like it's funny. Tricky hasn't been there yet, and we've been talking about going for like years as like a vacation, just as
Yeah.
like fun. Because him and I are like best friends. We grew up together. We grew up watching MTV, and all the music videos were in Hollywood of all the hair bands and all that.
Oh
And we
yeah.
just go and do the Hollywood thing. I want to go back, and I was joking around with him like we should just get like everyone to just everyone book your own trip there, but let's all meet
Yeah.
there. Like I don't want to deal with like figuring out everybody's flights. But let's all be there for like at least 3 the same days, you know, so we can all just do things for a few days together, you know.
Elmwood invades Hollywood.
Exactly. We're coming back junkies. No, just kidding.
Well, one of the things that I loved was when Ricky was on stage and people were asking where you can find it, and when he made the comment, he goes, "Keep physical media alive." I love
Yes.
that because I agree with that. It's the same thing with like
I
with
always say
albums, with movies. I like having the physical copy.
I
Books.
would say physical media still matters is the
Yep.
quote I use, and it comes from Prince because he said albums still matter. It's not just about the song that you're gonna hear the snippet of. You have to have the whole album. And physical media still matters because streaming, people forget, like you can buy a movie on Amazon to stream it and have it in your little Amazon catalog.
Yeah.
But if the producers of that film or the rights for that film decide that they don't want it there anymore, all you've bought is the right to watch it while it's there. You bought a license. You've not bought the movie.
Hmm.
They could pull that film tomorrow, and then it's not there anymore, even though you paid for it. But if you buy that actual hard copy, that Blu-ray, that DVD, they can't take it away from you. They're not going to come to your house and be like, "Give me back Raiders of the Lost Ark." You know, they're not going to do that. Um, so that's why physical and also that's why and also it's still a better format than streaming.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, there's less loss, it sounds better, looks better, especially Blu-ray and 4K and all that kind of DVD. You know, some things aren't meant for that high quality, but DVD is definitely meant for that. You know, some movies just Clerks on 4K makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with you
Kevin
on
Smith even made a joke when it came out on Blu-ray that it was an insult to Blu-rays, you know, but
that.
because it doesn't need to look, because it's not going to look any better than it did on DVD, you know.
Yeah.
But I get it, you know, like they're going to keep putting it out on a new version because there's a new format, put it out to make the money, and you know, I get that. But yeah, so keep that physical media alive, and also you buy a streaming album or a movie, those filmmakers are making pennies on the dollar.
Hmm.
Those musicians are making pennies on the dollar. You're buying a t-shirt or a film, like an actual physical copy, they're making actual money, you know.
Yeah.
Has been streaming now since 2018 on various things. And like Head, our movie Head, you know, boom. And I love our distributor, Terra Films. They're amazing. They've done great things for us. We don't make a lot of money off that. Neither do they, though, you know, because the streamers take so much money from you.
Yeah. Well, while you're talking, I'm trying to find because I interviewed a musician not too long ago, and I had oh, here we go, right here. I copy and pasted it. So for Apple Music, royalty rates per stream 0.008 cents for every 125 streams.
Think about that. Not per
Stream
song, but for 125 times that one song is streamed.
Yep. YouTube Music 0.002 royalty rates per stream. Well, actually, streams required to make it $1. 500.
Yeah.
500 streams. And then I'll do one more. Pandora 0.00133 streams required to make $1 for a musician. 752. So yeah,
It's just insane. And film is the same way. That's why Bernice isn't streaming anywhere yet, because we just haven't cut a deal that seems fair. You know, eventually it'll happen. You know, we'll figure it out, or we'll start our own distribution company to
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
We already have our own distribution online, and if you can buy Bernice 2 online, people. I'm gonna do the plug right now.
Do it.
There's 2 different spots you can buy this online. The preferred one is Bandcamp,
Hmm.
and there's 3 different ways you can buy it on Bandcamp. You can buy just the movie on DVD. You can buy the movie with the soundtrack on CD, which has songs you can't get anywhere else but on the soundtrack, which is cool. And they're not streaming some of the songs. That's the point. Also support the bands by their music as well. And then you can get a version that's the CD, the DVD, a beer koozie,
Hmm.
a Elmwood bracelet. I don't have one on right now. My niece stole mine on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And you get and there's only 25 of these available for this one version of it, where you'll get one of 25 original sketches of one of the characters that I did on 8.5 or 9 by 12, 8.5 by 11 or 9 by 12 Bristol board paper. So like high quality illustration paper. I'm the guy who designed all the puppets, so it's a drawing of the puppet. And there's 25 different ones. You might get the main characters, you might get Johnny Sojai, but I did a different one for each thing.
Now, why is
So
Bandcamp the best? Is that because you get to keep every penny?
Bandcamp, I just like the vibe of Bandcamp the best. Just the way they do things. And on Fridays, you keep all the money. So if you
Oh,
buy things from them on Friday, all money goes to the artists, which
yeah,
is
no.
really cool. And they just have a really good vibe there. They treat bands really well. The other place is Store Envy that you can buy our stuff. We make plenty of money off Store Envy. I mean, it's pretty much the same payout. I just like the layout of Bandcamp better. It's more user friendly.
Yeah,
Um, for me, as the guy who's putting all the products up, it's more user friendly.
yeah.
And Store Envy is the other place. On Bandcamp, you can also get Head on DVD
All right. Yes.
with bonus features. But on Store Envy, because we didn't move these products over, we have still some leftover copies of Steve the Vampire, um, and Josh and Todd.
Well, that's another thing that
They're
you
almost sold
mentioned.
out.
I
Yeah.
love that. Well, I'm so glad people are buying that because not only you mentioned the whole thing about streaming because you don't really own it or you do until they decide to take it off, but I love what you just mentioned because you get the special features. A lot of
Yeah.
times you get DVDs, they have the booklets in there, it has pictures. It's sort of like similar with albums. I used to load the liner notes and all the
Right.
things. So now with DVDs, I still buy them because I like
I do too. Yeah.
the whole
I just
Criterion
I
collection.
just bought the new reissue of Muppets Take Manhattan on 4K. And like, yeah, I just bought the Ren and Stimpy collection, like the almost complete. I think it's missing like one episode or something. Like just because I saw it cheap and I'm like, hell yeah, like
Oh yeah,
but I
definitely.
still buy movies, I still buy like I still buy CDs constantly and records constantly.
Where are some record stores? You and I are both in Connecticut. Where are you going?
Yeah. We're gonna hit Red Scroll for sure.
Okay.
And Wallingford, and then there's a place in Enfield called the Music Shop or the Music Stop or Music Outlet. Music Outlet.
Yeah.
They're closing in January. Not for anything bad. The owner just wants to retire. He's been doing it forever, and we're gonna try and make it out there. We'll see. We'll see how we're feeling.
I miss the days which you've always lived in Connecticut, right?
Except for I lived in Florida for a couple of years, but my whole adult life essentially Connecticut. Yeah,
Well, I miss the days of
and
Phoenix
childhood too.
Records, Brass City Records, Rhymes Records. I mean, every Saturday I used to spend the day just going down to the whole downtown water break. Go Phoenix Records was originally called.
Phoenix. Oh, I
Yep.
miss Phoenix.
Yep.
Tricky and I used to do our Friday night routine in high school was the first thing we did after we'd get together and we'd go right to Strawberries
Oh yeah.
and buy an album for the weekend. We'd each buy a new album almost every weekend, and like then we'd go to like what other record stores we wanted to go to, and then maybe on Sunday we hit some of the or like just throughout the week or we would hit all of them like you were in a different area of Connecticut than we were, so we were on the Berlin Turnpike and we had Record Breaker
Oh yeah.
and then later on there was like Media Play was there and Circuit City had all the imports and then we had on Celestine there was Integrity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember that place with a lot of jazz, but it was a great record store.
Yeah, I remember the name. I never been there, but Media Play I used to go to a lot.
Yeah, and then Record Express
Yes.
was a chain here. I worked at Media Play as a manager. I worked at Record Express as a manager.
That's funny.
Strawberries, I was a third key manager technically. Like, yeah, so Media Play was great. I didn't love working there at the end, but when I first got the job, it was unbelievable. Like, it was such a fun place to work.
I think my funniest memory of Media Play was it was me, my brother, his girlfriend. All of a sudden, on the big screen, they had Coming Soon, Phantasm on DVD. My brother, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit! And my
And then
brother,
there was the bay of TVs that
Yes.
showed everything.
Yep.
It was like 20 TVs in a box that had like oh man.
And
Which Media Play are you talking about?
was it on the one in Manchester?
Okay. I worked at that one for a little while. I was at the one in Newington for most of the time, but I was in the Manchester one in 2000. From March to September, I worked there.
It was so funny. She couldn't understand why we liked the movie so much and why we were so excited. But I actually saw when it was being released. I was a manager at Rite Aid at the time. I took that day, no, took the day before the day it came out, got out early, took the next day off, had a phantasm party. I was like,
That's awesome.
I loved it. I was so excited because people don't realize this was a time when like movies were maybe available on VHS, but DVDs were a newer product. They were crystal
And they
clear.
were way better. They were all widescreen. Well, not all widescreen, but
Yeah.
most of them were widescreen.
Yeah.
And the ones that weren't eventually became out on widescreen anyways. If the movie was made widescreen, like man. I remember I was at Media Play. Evil Dead had been out of print for years. The movie period on VHS, it didn't matter. It was just out of print. And I was working there, and it was being re-released by Anchor Bay.
Oh, I love
On
Anchor Bay.
VHS, not even on DVD yet. So I was like 97.
Yeah.
Being released on VHS, and the day it came out, we got like 30 copies in, and they were gone. Like people were coming in all day. You have Evil Dead? It's like because we were the only place that got it too. Like because they got everything. That's one thing I will say about them is they got it. Wow, we went on a tangent by the way, but that was a fun place to work for a while though.
Well, I'm sure you know the director William Lustig.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was in charge of Anchor Bay for a while. Or so he did something with it. Because I know that I met him at one of the conventions I used to go to, and he was talking about that. And he was talking about going through all these older movies and trying to clean them up, and he was putting them all out in Anchor Bay. So there was a while where I was buying everything Anchor Bay.
Nice. Yeah. They put out a lot of great stuff in that era too, the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, now, what's that place in Norwalk? I forgot the name of it. I see them all the time, and it's a great archives. It's called, but
the archives in Bridgeport.
Yes, Bridgeport.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, those guys are great. They're part of Vinegar Syndrome.
That's it.
So like that's where you get all the Vinegar Syndrome stuff, and like that's a great spot. They're cool people.
Well, if you want to, since you great, you know all these movies. The owner wanted to be on the show. I was talking to him a while ago, so I'd love to have you.
You got to get him on, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to have you as a co-host on that.
We got to get him on and find out why they don't sell Head and Bernice there yet.
That'll be the first question. It's like, why aren't you selling Head and Bernice too?
We saw them at one of the punk rock flea markets that the cake shop here in Connecticut does, Hardcore Sweet. And they're like, you got to bring some of these down so we can sell them. I just haven't brought any down. So it's on me. That's why they're not there. Maybe I'll do that after the new year. Go down.
You know what? Next time I see you, give me some movies because I haven't been down there recently, but I used to go down there on a somewhat regular basis and just buy some DVDs.
Yeah, I mean, I buy stuff from Vinegar Syndrome a lot. Like I have a good chunk of their releases, so I'm a nerd. Yeah. But Bernice too. Buy physical media, people. Please keep supporting us. Buy our T-shirts. Buy our movies. Buy and if you order one on Bandcamp or what's the thing called? Store Envy, a DVD of Bernice 2, and say you saw it on this episode, I'll throw a kazoo in your package.
All right.
Make a note, and we'll throw a kazoo in there for you because I still have all the ones left over.
Yep. And as you were saying in one of my other shows, when people do this, it helps you make more movies.
Right.
This show on the air, it helps.
The Patreon join the Patreon because the Patreon really does help keep all this stuff going.
Yep.
I gotta pay for the editing software every month. Patreon helps pay for that. I gotta do this. And the Patreon's an experiment. We're trying it out, and after a year, if we're not making enough, we're gonna stop doing it. But we just started it, so we're gonna give it the full 2024 to 2025. Because we only started it later in 2023. So if come January 2025, we're not making enough money off it, we'll stop. But we're off to a good start.
Right. Well, now. One question I know everybody wants answered. The movie's been out, had the premiere, had the final screening, and just won an award. Can you tell me who the hell is Bernice?
Oh, my connection's getting weird. No, I can't. I will not. We have a rule that we will not tell anyone who is Bernice, but if they guess it, we won't argue with them. We'll tell them they're right. So,
okay. All right.
So far, I think 5 people that I know have gotten it right. Some of the people who worked in the movie don't even know who Bernice is.
That's funny.
Which is great. Yeah. Some people had some great guesses. Like some people like you almost wanted to say yes because you felt bad because they had a story for why they had the answer. And they're all good answers, but I'm not I can tell you where the concept came from, the name of the movie came from and all that. This drawing that's on the DVD cover, there. Mike pulled a pen out one day, grabbed a piece of paper, and just drew this. As it looks, just drew that. And I looked at him. Mike's not an artist. Mike's a musician. Mike's a puppeteer. He's not an artist, though. Yeah. And I went, what's that? And just straight to my face, he went, that's Bernice, and I love her. And then he walked away. And I just started hysterically laughing. just hysterically laughing. This is not Bernice, by the way, but
Okay.
that's just it was just like a not. But we kept the drawing, like he just kept it forever. I traced it under another piece of paper in a sketchbook I had,
Mhm.
and just became a thing. Like, and then it was this is not Bernice. This is not Bernice, but Mike did love her. Like so. This is not Bernice. Yeah.
When you were making the movie, did you know who Bernice was, or was this one of these
Yes.
things where okay, it wasn't
Yes.
something you just came up with, like, oh yeah, we're
No.
just gonna mess with people and
No.
okay,
No. Bernice has been around. Bernice has popped up in other things.
all right.
If you follow Elmwood, you may be like, oh my god, I finally figured out who Bernice is. If you really dig deep into our films and stuff, you might find out who Bernice is.
And if you
But
find out who it is, you get a kazoo as well.
if you find out who it is, if you come to me like I figured out who Bernice is, first you have to keep a secret. It's like Carly Simon telling people who you're so vain's about. You can't tell anybody once you know. You can tell people you got it right, but don't tell them. And we'll give you some sort of prize.
I'm too vain to tell people I don't know who the hell Bernice is.
Right. We gotta make a I know Bernice T-shirt or something to give to those people who got it right. You know.
I've slept with Bernice.
Yeah. Ooh.
I don't
Ooh.
want to get Mike mad though.
No.
I know it's the love of his life.
But but yeah, but Bernice is a state of mind.
I love
um,
it.
yeah.
Well,
And the movie
also
wasn't the original. Actually, because we're talking about the history of the film and all that, the movie
yeah,
wasn't originally called Bernice too. It was originally called Dorian.
Dorian. Why?
Yeah. Because originally the two guys in the wheelchairs, we were gonna make two completely different puppets, and one of them was gonna be named Dorian.
Okay.
And then we decided not to do that and make the puppets look like us. And then we didn't want to call it that anymore. And we were debating what are we going to call the movie? What are we going to call the movie? And we were always yelling Bernice. I don't know if for those of you who watch Elmwood on YouTube, look for a short film called Bernice. We have a short film called that has nothing to do with the Bernice movie, Bernice 2, the movie. But I was like, why don't we just call the movie Bernice? Because that'd be funny because we already made a short film called Bernice, and these have nothing to do with each other.
Mhm.
And then Mike was the one who was like, let's call it Bernice 2. And I'm like, I don't want to call it 2 like a sequel. And he's like, no, like Bernice as well. I'm like, oh my God, Bernice, comma 2.
I
Like,
love it.
so this is also called Bernice, like that's kind of the joke. But it's, it became its own thing though, completely, obviously. But yeah, the original movie was gonna be called Dory.
I mean, I'm sure I would love that title, but I'm glad you went with Bernice too. I love
Yeah.
that. Just
And a bunch of those ideas are I saw earlier how we had like darker ideas and more evil and more weird ideas. We are going to eventually make a sketch film of those films, of those short
okay.
ideas,
Yeah.
and we're going to call it Full Frontal Puppetry. It'll be the R-rated sketch film,
Yeah.
Full Frontal Puppetry.
Well,
So.
like you said earlier, you said the best thing about puppets is you could do any genre, you could do anything you want.
Yeah.
You're not stuck in we only do horror movies, we only do romantic
I mean,
comedies.
and so many people thought we were only going to do horror after Head because Head got
Yeah.
so big, and it was like, no, we do more than. And then of course we made Jungle Man not long after, and so there was like that, but in between Jungle Man, Head and Jungle Man, we did Risley Brothers and Animal Behavior, but everyone was just so caught up in the Head thing that people thought we were just a horror company. But
Well, Head won some awards as well,
Head
right?
won a bunch of I don't even know how many, 5, 6,
Wow.
and it was in tons of film festivals, so I get it,
Yeah.
and we're gonna make a sequel eventually.
Was this the
And
first?
hopefully,
Was Bernice 2 the first time it went to Hollywood? Not the first time Elmwood went to Hollywood. Not you personally, but the movies.
no, Head was the Fantastic Horror Film Festival in Hollywood as well. We
Okay.
won best special effects at that
Wow.
back in 2016 when the movie first came out. We have the plaque, so it's not here; it's in the studio, but I have the plaque for that one still. So we were to Hollywood once before. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Well,
think Jungle Man was in one of the a film. I think Jungle Man made it into a film festival in Hollywood. I think Ricky's the one who has like the catalog knowledge of that stuff.
yeah.
So I think that one was in Hollywood as well. But we did win an award for Jungle Man in Ireland, which was funny. So
Wow. Ireland. Wow.
yeah, Head won the same film festival. Head won an award there, audience choice or critics choice or how was it called? Jury's choice for best film. Head won at the Yellow Fever Film Festival in Ireland, and then a few years later, Jungle Man won for best low budget short film.
Yeah. Well, all I have to say is, keep up the great work. Congratulations. I'm so
You
happy.
keep up the great work too, man.
Yeah, no, tell you, make great. Like you said, I love the fact that that you are supportive of all the arts. You're supportive of everybody doing their own thing, and you've helped so many people, including me. I am extremely grateful for that, and I appreciate that. And I am so happy for you and the rest of the crew at Elmwood Productions. So that being said,
Thank you, Elmwood Productions crew. Yes.
yes, what's next and where can people find you?
Yes, what's next is we start releasing all the stuff we've been filming for the past year. That's literally the next thing that's coming out. So new Poetry Corners, new Love Monsters, new The Painters, new Animal Behavior episodes, new shows called Holy Toledo, The World's Most Fantastic Stuntman, and another show called It's Going in Rich's Mouth, where
Oh,
we
yeah.
make our buddy Rich. You've seen some of the first episode already. You've seen pieces of it.
Yeah.
A rough cut of the first episode. So we make our buddy Rich eat some of the craziest stuff. Also, I eat everything that he eats as well, because as much as I want to torture him, I'm not gonna let him do it alone. And we have two monsters making fun of us.
Yep.
And then we have some other new shows coming out. I'm drawing blanks right now. And then we're gonna start filming, hopefully in February, a new short film for Graveyard Guild to host.
Ooh.
And it's gonna be the first time we ever adapt somebody else's work that's not somebody from within Elmwood. So I don't want to give it away just yet. I'll tell you after we're done filming what we're doing.
And when it's released, you're gonna have to come back on the show again.
Oh yeah, that will. I mean, we're gonna start. Like I said, everything's gonna start coming out like in January, February, March. We're gonna start premiering all the new shows. But for filming, we're not gonna start filming until like January, till February. We're taking a little breather because we worked our asses off this year. Like people are like, "Oh, all you've been doing is promoting Bernice for the whole year and a half, 2 years." Yeah, we've been filming like crazy. We just haven't put stuff out.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, talking to you, but also there was tons of stuff on your Facebook saying we're doing this, we're doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were all over the place. And just for people who don't know, there is another Rich. Nothing's going in my mouth. This is Rich Mislovitz.
Yeah, Rich Mislovitz. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll get you. If the show does well, we want to do a second run of episodes. I think we just shot 7 or 8.
Yeah.
We want to do another if we did 8, we'll do 8 more. If people like react to it and think it's funny, we'll bring you on and make you be a guest and make.
Oh yeah, I would love to.
We want to bring, like, if we do a second run of those, I want to bring other people on because I think it would be fun. Yeah, to get other people's reactions to the way, because the last episode we shot was us doing drinks.
Yeah.
And we had a few other people like trying the drinks with us too and reacting. So we thought that'd be fun to bring other people in going forward. So
one thing you have a lot of great ideas. One of the ideas that you and I spoke about, I'm not sure if we talked about it in the air, but it was where we just get drunk and watch movies and just start talking about it.
Yes, I want to do that this year too. That's on my list of like things to film. Like we want to do like this whole pick up. And I only want to do like independent film too, like weird independent movies. Like find the worst of the worst and watch those, and just like try and find something good about them and yet make fun of them. Not just be like Mystery Science, but like really like actually really like analyze the film. Yeah,
I think one of the funniest. No, sorry, what did you say?
And get drunk.
Oh, exactly. It's a great combination. No, what I wanted to say was one of the funniest commentaries I ever heard was Cannibal the Musical, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and they are just getting drunker and drunker, and the more drunk they get, the crazier they get. It's the best.
Have the original Head DVD, the original pressing? You have one, right?
I do. I have to check and see if it's the one that I know what you're talking about, but I don't know.
Not this cover, but the drawing cover.
No, the other one. Yep.
You're the other one. All right. Have you listened to that commentary yet?
Not yet. So
you want to hear some people getting drunk. It's me, Ricky, and Russ. And at one point, Russ just decides to walk up to the microphone and open his beer into the microphones. You're like, shh, as loud as you can. And we're getting silly. And Jason Finberg, who does the audio mixing for everything, he was just there hanging out with us. And every now and then you hear him like ooh, in the background saying something smart assy. Like it's a fun commentary.
Oh, yeah, listen to it. And
or on our YouTube channel, Elmwood's YouTube, we do commentaries. I don't know if you watched any of those. Last year we did all these 20th anniversary ones.
I saw you doing them. I have to get a chance.
Go back and watch the Risley one. You want to hear like 8 people drunk all talking over each other.
That's funny.
Because it was me, Ricky, Rick, Mike, and Tricky. 5 of us. And by the time we even started recording, we were already popped. And it just gets worse.
Yeah, all right, I gotta check that out because I know that you. I was at, I think, one of your Christmas parties or something. You had it on in the background, and I was watching, but I haven't watched all of them.
Oh, cool.
I will do that, and I'm not sure if we can talk about this yet, but hopefully, I will definitely be a part of Elmwood in the writing process.
Yes, we're talking about head sequels. We're gonna have Rich is gonna be helping us with a head sequel, and we're adapting one of your. This isn't the same thing I was talking about earlier, but one of your short stories into a script as well. So
I can't wait.
2024 is gonna be a lot of new releases and us processing new work, which is gonna be awesome.
And
I can't sit still too. Yes, and some drinking. We like to drink between coffee and alcohol. We have addictions. I can't sit still for too long. Like like we're taking a break like the past couple weeks from doing anything real as a group, and like I'm already like like I'm got sketchbook is already out all the time. I got this like a puppet sitting here half built, like just I can't sit still.
Well, hopefully one day we're going to turn on this camera and there's going to be a puppet of me somewhere.
Oh, there's gonna be a rich puppet for sure. It's happening.
Yeah. Well, John, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. I'm so happy and proud
to be on as a guest. Thank you.
Yep. So that wraps up the latest episode of the Claws Corner. A huge thanks goes out to producer, actor, editor, writer, puppeteer, and co-host John Bristol of the award-winning Elmwood Productions for taking time out of his extremely busy schedule to be a guest on my show. Thank you very much, John, you and that trophy. I also need to thank, once again, editor extraordinaire, John Bristol, for all of his great editing this show each and every week and making it available to all on YouTube. People will be watching it right now. Play a song for me. John, play it out.
No. All right.
And I am also extremely grateful for John not playing that song, and to Rob Bull and Joe work.
And Tim, Joe, Tim, yes.
All they do to make my show available on several Connecticut radio stations, as well as Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Thank you both very, very much. And lastly, but definitely not least, I need to thank you, the viewer, for always tuning in. Enjoy your day, everyone.
Come on, suckers! All of a sudden I hear, brim, brim.
What's a diaphragm again?
Ha! We caught one.
They're supposed to be weird.
Oh, yeah, no. If you say so.
I've always wanted to be in a movie.
Around the